Session 806, July 30, 1977, 9:31 p.m., Saturday. Good evening. Part 1 of the session. Because events do not exist in the concrete, done and finished versions about which you have been taught, then memory must also be a different story. You must remember the creativity and the open-ended nature of events, for even in one life a given memory is seldom a true version of a past event. The original happening is experienced from a different perspective on the part of each person involved, of course, so that the event's implications and basic meanings may differ according to the focus of each participant. That given event, in your terms happening for the first time, say, begins to work upon the participants. Each one brings to it his or her own background, temperament, and literally 1,000 different colorations, so that the event, while shared by others, is still primarily original to each person. The moment it occurs, it begins to change as it is filtered through all of those other ingredients, and it is minutely altered furthermore by each succeeding event. The memory of an event, then, is shaped as much by the present as it is by the past. Association triggers memories, of course, and organizes memory events. It also helps color and form such events. You are used to a time structure so that you remember something that happened at a particular time in the past. Usually you can place events in that fashion. There are neurological pockets, so to speak, so that biologically the body can place events as it perceives activity. Those neurological pulses are geared to the biological world you know. In those terms, past or future life memories usually remain like ghost images by contrast. Overall, this is necessary so that immediate body response can be focused in the time period you recognize. Other life memories are carried along, so to speak, beneath those other pulses, never, in certain terms, coming to rest so that they can be examined, but forming, say, the undercurrents upon which the memories of your current life ride. When such other life memories do come to the surface, they are of course colored by it, and their rhythm is not synchronized. They are not tied into your nervous system as precisely as your regular memories. Your present gains its feeling of depth because of your past as you understand it. In certain terms, however, the future represents, say, another kind of depth that belongs to events. A route goes out in all directions. Events do also, but the roots of events go through your past, present, and future. Often, by purposefully trying to slow down your thought processes, or playfully trying to speed them up, you can become aware of memories from other lives, past or future. To some extent you allow other neurological impulses to make themselves known. There may often be a feeling of vagueness, because you have no ready-made scheme of time or place with which to structure such memories. Such exercises also involve you with the facts of the events of your own life, for you automatically are following probabilities from the point of your own focus. It would be most difficult to operate within your sphere of reality without the pretension of concrete, finished events. You form your past lives now in this life as surely as you form your future ones now also. Simultaneously, each of your past and future selves dwell in their own way now, and for them the last sentence also applies. It is, theoretically, possible to understand much of this through an examination in depth of the events of your own life. Throwing away many taken for granted concepts, you can pick a memory, but try not to structure it, a most difficult task, for such structuring is by now almost automatic. The memory, left alone, not structured, will shimmer, shake, take other forms, and transform itself before your mental eyes, so that its shape will seem like a psychological kaleidoscope through whose focus the other events of your life will also shimmer and change. Such a memory exercise can also serve to bring in other life memories. Edges, corners, and reflections will appear, however, perhaps superimposed upon memories that you recognize as belonging to this life. Your memories serve to organize your experience and, again, follow recognized neurological sequences. Other life memories from the future and past often bounce off of these with a motion too quick for you to follow. In a quiet moment, off guard, you might remember an event from this life, but there may be a strange feeling to it, as if something about it, some sensation, does not fit into the time slot in which the event belongs. In such cases that present life memory is often tinged by another, so that a future or past life sheds its cast upon the recalled event. There is a floating quality about one portion of the memory. This happens more often than is recognized, because usually you simply discount the feeling of strangeness and drop the part of the memory that does not fit. Such instances involve definite bleed-throughs, however. By being alert and catching such feelings, you can learn to use the floating part of the otherwise recognizable memory as a focus. Through association, that focus can then trigger further past or future recall. Clues also appear in the dreaming state, and with greater frequency, because then you are already accustomed to that kind of floating sensation in which events can seem to happen in their own relatively independent context. Dreams in which past and present are both involved are an example. Also dreams in which the future and the past merge, and dreams in which time seems to be a changing ingredient. In certain terms, the past, present, and future of your present life are all compressed in any given moment of your experience. Any such moment is therefore a gateway into all of your experience. All events that you recognize as happening now are simply specific and objective, but the most minute element in any given moment's experience is also symbolic of other events and other times. Each moment is then like a mosaic. Only in your current life history you follow but one color or pattern, and ignore the others. As I have mentioned in other books, you can indeed change the present to some extent by purposefully altering a memory event. That kind of synthesis can be used in many instances with many people. Such an exercise is not some theoretical, esoteric, impractical method, but a very precise, volatile, and dynamic way of helping the present self by calming the fears of a past self. That self is not hypothetical, either, but still exists, capable of being reached and of changing its reactions. You do not need a time machine to alter the past or the future. Such a technique is highly valuable. Not only are memories not dead, they are themselves ever-changing. Many alter themselves almost completely without your notice. In his unpublished apprentice novels, Rupert, Jane, did 2 or 3 versions of an episode with a priest he had known in his youth. Each version at the time he wrote it represented his honest memory of the event, while the bare facts were more or less the same. The entire meaning and interpretation of each version differed so drastically that those differences far outweighed the similarities. Because the episode was used on 2 or 3 different occasions, Rupert could see how his memory changed. In most cases, however, people are not aware that memory changes in such a fashion, or that the events they think they recall are so different. The point is that past events grow. They are not finished. With that in mind, you can see that future lives are very difficult to explain from within your framework. A completed life in your terms is no more completed or done than any event. There is simply a cut-off point in your focus from your framework, but it is as artificial as, basically, perspective is applied to painting. It is not that the inner self is not aware of all this, but that it has already chosen a framework, or a given frame of existence, that emphasizes certain kinds of experience over others. Author note, 1105. Now Seth went into the more personal part 2 of the session, explaining how in her own case Jane could give her past self in this life her current knowledge, so that through the resulting, quote, psychological synthesis, she would be better equipped to handle certain challenges. End at 11:44 p.m. End session 806. Peace, light, and love. Aloha.